All right, pre-show shenanigans, very special episode today. We'll get more into in the intro, but today's going to be our rando-sode. Rando-sode? How did
RANDI-SODE.
we coin it? Rando-sode.
RANDI-SODE.
So, in honor of the rando-sode, the pre-show shenanigans will be dedicated to the sports section. So for everyone here for sports, it's going to be a very quick podcast today. For everyone here for the pre-show, which should be most of you, shout out Owen. This is
It's
for
gonna be
you.
a very long
This
episode today for you
this
guys.
one is for you.
This is what we would consider the long haul episode, like a long car ride or something.
Yeah.
You've been listening to sports for so long, you just need something to switch it up a
it's
little
like a
bit,
travel
little vibe. Yeah, it's a travel sode.
I would say, the best setting to listen to this one is definitely on a hour, 2 hour long little car ride.
Anything more than that, though, it gets complicated.
Yeah, then okay. Okay, now that I think.
We might already be starting.
We might already be. Now I know we got to start with sports, but shit, while we're on the topic, what is the? Now we're gonna limit it to like 5 hours. Now, how long is the drive you just made from
18 and a half?
All right, so let's cap it at 6 hours.
Okay.
What is like the least ideal length of a car trip just based on what you're listening to? So I feel like the average podcast is around hour 32 hours. So like a 3.5 hour car ride wouldn't exactly be ideal. You'll get like an episode and a half at the end. You might have to finish the car ride halfway through, or if it's a 3 hour car ride, maybe pod for an hour or two, and then last hour while you're on the final stretch, turn on that big time rush, baby. Windows down, turn on those bangers for that last hour. But I'm trying to think what is.
I mean, I drove 18 hours straight with just music, like no podcast.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
So you didn't listen to the Waterboy?
I did put it on at the start, like when I was tired, but after that I had to. We don't manufacture. We don't manufacture views here. That's not how this works.
No. We're not view bot.
I was tempted. I was tempted to go back and listen to like the very first couple episodes just to see the difference. I wanted to see how bad the start was. But no, like I like kind of had it on for like maybe 10 minutes and then I switched to music.
Fair. One question that I've had recently. So, this morning, had to drop off my lovely mother off at LAX. And side note, if you ever ask me to go to LAX on a weekday or weekend, it actually doesn't even matter. There's actually nothing that ruins my mood more than having to go to LAX.
I'm aware. I'm aware of that.
Slaughters the soul. And the thing is, when I was driving to LAX, I actually didn't have a problem. Okay. Now I might dive into my SUV topic, but I'm planning on saving that for the actual episode.
To be honest, we might be in the episode already. It might just be no sports.
Until I say what is going on, everybody, welcome back. We are not into the official episode.
You just said it, though.
Did not say episode number. No, that's the official mark. But while I was driving there, I didn't really have any problems. The traffic at 6:30 a.m.
Not that bad.
Very
for LA standards.
It makes you appreciate LA. It's like shit. Everything is pretty close by. This honestly isn't too bad. And then coming back, going north on the 405, going westbound on the 10, Everett. For all my LA people right now, you know exactly what I mean. The only way I could compare it is if the best way I could compare is when I hear you saying you would drive, I don't know, 20 to 30 miles every day to school, and your drive was only like 20 minutes more than mine, and I probably drove 8 miles to school, 30 minutes there and back.
Yeah.
It makes me just angry trying to explain to people non-LA what it's like. I feel like the only way to explain it is if you are in a horse carriage, you're on horseback, and everyone else is just like in a Bugatti. That's just what it feels like driving in LA compared to another city.
That is true, but it's also like that's only one aspect of driving in LA. You're forgetting the traffic aspect of driving in LA when you're explaining it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way to like compare it where you just feel like you're going so slow. Knowing that if this distance you had to travel was just 3 states over, it would take you maybe 80% less time,
Most
50% less
likely.
time,
Most
at
likely.
least. But yeah, I'm gonna save the SUV talk. Okay, I gotta bring up the sports thing real quick. Okay. We're recording this on Wednesday, May 29th. All right. We'll be coming out on Thursday, May 30th. But Everett, this Saturday, June 1st, Champions League final between Borussia Dortmund and Real Madrid. And I'll be honest, I'm not going to sit here and act like I care about soccer. I'm not going to act like I'm deeply following it. But I will give myself a quick shout out in my Premier League fantasy league. Came in 102nd thousandth place in the world out of around 10 million. So quick little snaps for me. All right. I don't all,
Pretty
I know no one cares about the fantasy team, but for a guy who actually knows nothing about soccer, I don't know anything. When my friend explained to me the other week, they have different formations on defense than offense, my mind was blown. I was like, God, that's genius. That's like one of the most fundamental basic understandings of soccer.
kind of
And it
surprised
blew
by
my mind.
that. Kind of
Blew
surprised you
my mind.
didn't know that.
No, absolutely blew my mind. And yeah, I will say, I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to figure it out, but I would say I would compare my current soccer fandom to how I was in like early NBA years. Late 2010, late 2000s, early 2010s NBA. How it like I don't know why, but I was just addicted to the NBA in that period.
Well, that
Wasn't
because
really
Kobe Bryant, like
yes,
Lakers
Kobe
were
really helped. Yeah, the Lakers being good really expedited the process. But that era of basketball, like I'm talking Sasha Vujacic, Luke Walton, Shannon Brown Lakers. I just know that Robert Sacre, Ryan Kelly. Okay, now I'm getting off topic. I just know that shit so well. And it's that's the best way I could describe my soccer fandom. So for Dortmund, their star boy Marco Reus, he announced that he will be leaving after the season, will not be renewing his contract. And in Germany, German soccer, Everett, they kind of have a special rule. First, uh, just a German soccer rule. At least 51% of all clubs, except for Red Bull Leipzig, except for Red Bull, every other Bundesliga club is majority owned by the fans. So at least 51% of all Bundesliga teams are owned by fans, except for Red Bull Leipzig. Once again, they're pieces of shit. They ruined the beautiful game in Germany. But uh, the Bundesliga, they're probably one of the most like loyal fan bases in terms of relationships between supporters and the players in the club, just because the fans do make up so much of the ownership. Like they do have a voice in how the club is ran. And for Dortmund, they're like the goats of selling players for ridiculous profit. So like they sold Holland to Man City, they just sold Bellingham to Real Madrid, like Dembele to Barcelona, and all these players they sold for like 100 million plus euros. They sold Jadon Sancho to Man U for like 110 and then bought him back 2 years later for like 20 mil.
so that's what you're saying the Oakland A's would do if they were smart.
It pretty much like it's kind of like this. Dortmund, they kind of operate like the A's in the sense that they're not going to keep their players long term. They don't have the money. Like Lewandowski was Dortmund. Bayern had the money, so he went to Bayern to sign with them long term. He wasn't going to get that money at Dortmund. But Marco Reus, their captain, he has stayed loyal through thick and thin. And this is his first time in the Champions League final in over a decade. He made it in 2012 with Dortmund. They lost in the final to Bayern, their rival, of course. But now they're back after 2012, 12 seasons. They're now back in the Champions League for Reus. And this guy, Reus Everett, he probably one of the most unlucky players ever in all of sports. He 2014 Germany wins the World Cup, right? Reus was supposed to be a star boy in that squad in their very last friendly match leading up to the World Cup, breaks his ankle out for the tournament. Then Germany wins the World Cup without him, and it's kind of like, well, Royce, that was his opportunity to shine.
Yeah.
Didn't get it. Gets hurt again for the 2016 Euros. Makes it for the 2018 World Cup, but Germany got bounced in the group stage, so you kind of want to forget that. Didn't play 2020 Euros. 2022 World Cup, maybe he played, but Germany wasn't too great. And now he's back, Champions League final. And for this guy, Royce, he turned down Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man City, Man U, Liverpool, and AC Milan. They all wanted to sign him. He said, no, I'm staying. So, like, he's the definition of the Jordan Belfort Leo meme. I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere. He's just the GOAT. And you don't really see loyalty like this. Also, youth academy, spent his whole childhood on the Dortmund team and stuff. But I want this guy to win so unbelievably bad. I've like never been this prideful of a team that I genuinely don't care about at all in my life. I am pulling for Dortmund, not as hard as I would for Ohio State, but as hard as I would for like the LA Kings if they were in the Stanley Cup. Like that's how much I care right now.
Which is like
pretty good.
I'd say, yeah. It's
would it ruin my day when they lose a Real Madrid? Will it ruin my day? No. Will I be upset an hour after the game ends? No. But for 30 minutes, will I be a little sad?
Not even 30 minutes. It's like 5 minutes right after the game ends. Not 30 minutes.
I'll watch a TikTok like a week after of Royce, like an emotional song of like a highlight tape of him. But by highlight tape, I mean like him clapping to the set. No highlights. He's been injured. He doesn't actually play. But just like an emotional like thank you. Yeah, I'll be sad then. But I'm pulling for my dog. I want him to win so unbelievably bad. It's probably not going to happen. Real Madrid's a wagon, absolute wagon, and they're about to get Mbappe. Then
people forget.
Then we just don't need to follow it at all.
God. All right.
That soccer's ruined. I can't wait to have DJ on though to talk some real footy. Ooh, it's gonna be a great episode. You got more sports stuff to talk about though?
Well, we have
something.
EA Sports to talk about, but I think
that
have an
qualifies
episode for that. I would rather have just an episode for that.
Let's dedicate our own for that one. But all right, without further ado, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to an extremely special episode of the Waterboy Podcast. Today is episode 226, and it is the RANDI-SODE. All right.
I might have something to lead us off with.
Good. Because I'm not sure how I'm going to segue into my first question for you, but yes.
Grant.
Okay.
What is one of the greatest seasons of television the world has ever seen? What is one of the best pilots that you have ever seen in your life?
Pilots or seasons or debut seasons? What?
All the same.
Choices here.
All the same. Because there is a correct answer. And you know what? It might be a little controversial, but I do think there's a correct answer to this. And this is something that took the world by storm when it first came out. Like, I know both you and I were like, grasped by this show.
I was gonna immediately think of Office, but that's definitely not where you're going. But you say that's not
Grant. I think
let me try again. Okay, I'm trying.
Well, this is your opinion. You should have your own opinion. You can say something.
I'm trying to think of major cultural impacts recently. I can think of now. This is not the answer, but I'm just listing cultural crazy shows.
I mean, just say one.
Recently, House of Dragon.
Yeah,
okay. That's not it. I was thinking like Game of Thrones. I've still never seen it. Remember that review?
You got through like the first 6 episodes. You got through the first season
and a half.
You got through the first season.
I did finish the first season.
Grant,
I did finish the first season.
I think the best season 1 of any show, Riverdale season 1.
The best season of any
like
show
the first like to get into a show. There's not been something that like has been as like culturally like I shouldn't say as culturally significant, but like season 1
culturally
season 1 of Riverdale,
we liked it a lot. But
Season
to
1
say
of Riverdale,
culturally
though,
significant
no, it's not.
Riverdale.
I mean, House of Dragons and Game of Thrones and other shows definitely Suits, even Suits probably right now. But season,
I was actually thinking you were gonna say Suits, and you're about to put me on.
I mean, yeah, Suits
I still
probably.
haven't seen it.
Suits is probably
There's
my
many shows
favorite
I haven't
show.
seen.
Suits is probably my favorite show of all time.
I would say my favorite show is probably Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. But
I think when season 1 of Riverdale was coming out,
there was not where I thought you were going.
There is nothing else that anybody else was talking about besides Riverdale.
All right. Okay. I'm going to one up you. The very first season of 13 Reasons Why.
Oh, I don't know if we need to go that direction, but that took for other reasons. Elaborate,
but I'm saying
for other reasons.
Genuinely shook the community. All right. That
more than the community. That was the nation as a whole.
It was just like, what the hell? I was like a freshman in high school when that came out. I was like, I should not be doing this.
Yeah,
shit,
you and
I didn't watch it, but like Euphoria, that show launched.
I watched it late.
I'd never seen an episode, but Jacob Elordi, Sydney Sweeney, ironically, they're no, Zendaya's bigger than both, but Zendaya was already pretty established. But like that show launched careers.
But like, I'll just
and also
say,
Stranger Things season 4. Oh my god,
I've still never seen Stranger Things, but
I'm telling
you and
right now season 3. 4. 2.
You and I.
4.
You and I can say we are in the minority of people that saw 13 Reasons Why when it first came out before anything happened to the censorship of it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Not going to explain anything else more, but they've removed a lot of stuff. They've removed a lot of stuff. It's honestly
shocking that Netflix like greenlit that at the time. It was like, yep,
this is fine. On there. This is fine. This is all right. Yeah.
And market the shit out of it. Like, yeah.
No, yeah.
I would say, I'll be honest though. I didn't see many of these legendary shows, so I can't really give an answer for like Game of Thrones or like Breaking Bad or any of.
To be fair, I've never seen Breaking Bad either.
Yeah, that's one I gotta watch that.
That might be a party foul on both of us, actually.
That's a show where I will go around someone, I don't know, they'll make some reference, everyone in the room laughs at some Breaking Bad jokes. Like, the hell? And everyone will just stop whatever.
I mean, like, I at least know, like,
it could be game 7 of the NBA Finals with 30 seconds left, and the room will pause. You haven't seen Breaking Bad? I
mean, I at least know, like, I am the one who knocks. Like, I know that. I know a couple other quotes from it, but like I
just went over my head. Whatever you just said.
I am the one who knocks. No idea.
Zero clue. The only thing I know about that is that one meme of Bryan Cranston where he's like laying on the money and he's screaming. Like, yeah, I don't know anything. But if I were to think of a show for me, that's one of the.
No, I'm not saying. By the way, I'm not saying. I was like over exaggerating a little bit. Like, I'm not saying that that's like the most important, like the best show I've ever seen in my life.
No.
Season 1 of Riverdale was some of the most incredible, like enjoyable time.
Yeah, I don't know what happened in season 3 of Suits, but I'm just gonna assume you enjoyed that more than Riverdale. I have no idea what happens in season 3 of Suits, but I'm just gonna say it was a banger.
I think season 1 of Riverdale might be like up there though. Like that might be one of my favorite seasons of a show that I've seen.
So this is something that,
to be fair, I haven't rewatched it in a while, so it could just be me thinking back on it, and it could just be
very true. But very true. I will say, I'm not sure if you've ever seen this show, but Entourage season 3A.
3A. Is there like is it a double
3A and a 3B?
So is it technically season 4? Or is it like actually season 7?
No, there's 3A, 1B, season 4, season 5, season 6.
So 3A and it's just a one-off.
Season 3 was so goated. They were like, we can't
split it into 2 parts.
We have to continue. We have to make this a double season. Holy shit, the plot line is too good. And this can actually segue into one of my topics. But that show Entourage, why I think you'll really like it. First, it's based off of Mark Wahlberg's upbringing in Hollywood.
By the way, if nobody has actually like looked into Mark Wahlberg's like
look up
he was
Mark
a younger
Wahlberg
kid,
16-year-old incident.
He had more than one though.
Yeah,
he had more than one.
He had multiple. And I'm not talking about Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. I'm talking about a different venture.
That alone also deserves its own
That's
research.
its own.
That's its own research. Yeah.
Its own. That's its own podcast.
By the way, isn't the guy who originally played Rhodey in Marvel, isn't he in Entourage as well? He's like the main. I think he's like one of the main guys in Entourage.
Who in Marvel? Sorry, I'm not a Marvel guy. Brody in Marvel? Who?
All right, it doesn't matter then.
I don't know.
Road. It doesn't matter if that flies over your head, and forget about it.
I'm gonna.
It's just disappointing.
Quickly check it. Oh right. Okay, I'm seeing. We're not talking Don Cheadle, right?
Well, Don Cheadle is who plays him now. I'm saying before. Don Cheadle.
Yeah. You're talking the original. I'll be honest, probably not a recurring part, but the thing about Entourage I love is that they have a superstar mega cameo in every single episode.
What? Like there was a show. There was Miami Vice. Miami Vice was like
Brady.
That. Miami Vice was like if you look up Miami Vice and you just look at how many like Hollywood stars were just in those shows before they were even known. It is crazy. They had like at least 40 actors in there before they were like big, just like casually in those episodes as like side pieces.
Like at the end of Game of Thrones, they had what, like Aaron Rodgers. They were just like, screw it. If you want,
yeah, but you didn't know. You also didn't know. Sheeran. You didn't know that. By the way, the Ed Sheeran controversy in Game of Thrones
wasn't Ed Sheeran good in Game of Thrones?
Yeah, he was like he wasn't bad, but people were like, why is Ed Sheeran? And we're like, he's just singing a song, dude. Like, chill. He's dying in 5 seconds, anyways.
Yeah, it's like worry about the Starbucks cup, not that. Come on, guys.
By the way, season 7 of Game of Thrones might also be one of the biggest letdowns of a TV show I've ever seen.
Now, I
watched the final season of Dexter too, which was also a huge letdown. That was bad.
You can honestly explain this one to me. I was asking my brother about this the other day. Season 8 is the last season of Game of Thrones, correct?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant. Season 8. I forgot about season 8.
My brother says season 7 is also awful.
It's not great.
I feel like everything I heard, it's
season 8 and season 7.
But season 7, I'm hearing, is also bad.
Conjoined to be mega ass. Like that's why I forgot about how season 8 is worse. It's more ass, but season 7 is still ass and still a letdown. The problem is whenever they like ran out of source material, they were like going off their own thing, and then they were also supposed to go make a Star Wars. Like the producer was supposed to go make a Star Wars movie, and then they rushed everything, and now it's ass.
Star Wars movie would that have been?
Oh, it got canned immediately afterwards because of how bad Game of Thrones did. They were like, you cannot have.
I did not know that. Something. Did not know that detail. I will just say though about like that Game of Thrones, like House of Dragon, I'm locked in. Like I'm
it comes out in 6-7 days
next week. Yeah,
it's supposed to be the first. I think the first episode is supposed to be like an hour 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think I saw like the very first episode's called An Eye for an Eye.
Yeah, so I mean,
last episode.
I kind of know which, because the problem is,
trust me,
you and I are both. We're not going to say anything for anybody who's listening to this, but it's going to get.
I did the exact same thing with Dune.
Well,
I don't know how they'll do.
Well, Grant, that's the problem. You and I share a TikTok feed because of the podcast, so you and I both are exposed to the same.
Oh, you've been exposed to Leto the Second as well. I don't know how they're gonna make Worm God King, but if they can do it,
that you talking about in Dune?
Movie. Yeah, I'm talking Emperor of Dune. Fourth
yeah,
book.
you're talking the like son that becomes the fucking worm thing.
I'm talking. We haven't even seen Timothée Chalamet's son yet. You should be in the next movie. That dude is the most maybe the most savage character. He's actually Thanos. Like ultimate utilitarian perspective for the greater good. Like I'm evil, but unfortunately for you, I'm a necessary evil, so you're gonna have to put up with me. Like that dude, he like epitomizes like the lengths that people will go to under some belief that they're like God. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
I don't even understand. But oh my, if they can make Worm King, oh my God, Everett, I think that would break cinema. But considering Avatar 2, James Cameron needed, I don't know, 13, 14 years in between to make it. We might be 3 decades away from the technology to make that movie, and I will wait. I will wait till
Hey,
20.
but hey, you know what? They were able to make Davy Jones in 2004, 5, or
Okay,
6,
you know
whatever that
what?
was,
You know
and
what?
that was that
Actually,
still
okay.
holds up
All right, all
today.
right.
So
Why are the setting shots of Coruscant and Revenge of the Sith some of the most beautiful things
you mean the
ever?
intro? By the way, the intro to Revenge
Just
of
the
the Sith,
setting
but
establishment
no,
shots.
the intro of Revenge of the Sith might be one of the
Also
greatest openings
excellent.
to a movie.
Also phenomenal. But I'm shocked that, and specifically Pirates of the Caribbean, Davy Jones. The CGI was
Because they cared.
so good.
They cared. It wasn't
So
like it
good.
wasn't trying to like cut budget costs. Like they just actually tried to put like the same thing with the new Avatar money or money movie. It was money.
Well, it is money.
But but
That
that's
shit
the
made
same
2
thing.
bill.
They were like using a CGI and all that stuff to like actually like develop new things and
I don't
like
know why I
be
have
like
my ESPN tab open. Let me close that. Go
be
on.
like a large part of like the movie. That's the same thing with Pirates of the Caribbean, same thing with Star Wars. But like when you look at Marvel, they just like, all right, we're gonna just cut costs and throw all this shit into CGI, whatever. They're just gonna walk everybody in front of a green screen right
Yeah.
now.
And also, arguably to a degree, because CGI has advanced a lot over the past 20-ish years, they could honestly just be sitting there just like, oh yeah, just kind of cheap out. Let's just go with the 2015 CGI for this shit. Let's
I
just
like
get it out
legitimately
of the
think
way.
though the CGI that they used in Pirates of the Caribbean for Davy Jones though, like that probably costs so
Amazing.
much money.
Oh, yeah, and manpower, I
Yeah.
bet.
To
If
do
you were
each
just to,
little like
yeah, count the labor hours spent just on his scenes, I don't know. There's a
that's
chance it
it's
may
like
have
a
been a
lost
combined
art. It's like
4 to
low
6 months
it's
of
like it
manpower.
is like low key a lost art
Yeah,
though. Like that's kind of
yeah,
what sucks.
yeah.
By the way, like everything now, just movie wise, I don't know how we ended up. This is why it's the rando.
Being
So
AI.
we're now talking about Hollywood. Um,
I haven't even gotten to my opening question for you yet, so this is a good sign.
like one of those things that just kind of sucks is all the every movie now is either a sequel or a prequel to something,
Yeah,
or
they want
I
a
just got a
series so you can keep
notification.
on having
Um,
sequels and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
or it's like off of some source material. Like there's nothing
Yeah.
that is
Oh, yeah.
like
Oh,
new.
of
Like
course.
all the new movies that are like just brainstorm came up with this. Let's just make this
I
for being a
I
movie.
cannot give you an example of a recent movie that genuinely a completely original script written out of.
Like
I can't.
I know like the Fall Guy
Maybe
like is
that
supposed to be
Tarantino
like
movie that just got canned. But
but
shit,
like
odds are he probably
I
found a
know like
script for that
Ryan
40 years
Gosling
ago.
just had a movie and like it was out for like 2 weeks. It looked pretty good, and then they immediately put it
Already on
on to
streaming.
streaming because nobody would just go like everybody is so like brainwashed to go see these like non like source material comic book movies or whatever else is going on. Like
Well, yeah, another thing I think about is that let's start with a Marvel. Like doing superhero movies, like it's an overall safer investment because there's so many sequels, but like it's a part of extended
yeah,
universe. Like at the end of
if
the
it goes
day,
well, then like
it's
you
not
can
too
make
hard to get that green lit because it's like, hey, we got these movies set up, got our star in place, he's signed on for X amount of movies, so we feel comfortable doing it. But and like also for like a Doom, because it's able to become a series. You can make it a series. You can make more movies. I feel like it's easier for a major uh movie production studio to fund it just because you're like, yeah, there's long-term potential here, not just a one-off movie. And that brings me to my next topic. James Cameron. I was looking up James Cameron. Now, just going back to Entourage, they spend a whole season James Cameron. It started off as a cameo, but he liked the TV show so much, he was like, keep me in for the whole season. Like the show was so great and people loved Mark Wahlberg so much that they would take time off of their movies and shit to go film guest appearances. Or like, I want to be in 4 episodes of season 3B. So I'm gonna do that because I like the show so much. I just want to be in it. But James Cameron was probably the most big name guy in the movie industry to be like, put me in Entourage. And they spend a whole season of him being the director of Aquaman. And they want star guy to be his Aquaman. And the whole time the star character is like, dude, Aquaman, I'm not trying to be a mermaid dude.
You're talking about James Wan, the director of Aquaman?
Well, I not the real life Aquaman, but James
Okay.
Cameron was the director for the Entourage Aquaman in that.
Okay, I got you.
And the main lead in the show, who's represents Mark Wahlberg, Vince was like, I'm not doing Aquaman. I don't want to be like a mermaid superhero type cast for the rest of my career. And the second he finds out James Cameron is director, he's like, make me Mermaid Man right now, right? And you just see, see based on how he reacts, how much he respects James Cameron. You could just see how much
I saw a post today talking about like the behind for Top Gun Maverick, because that's sick, by the way. And in that, it was like
also very low key. It's quite interesting how that movie helped Glenn Powell more than Miles Teller.
No, yeah, and that's crazy. That's crazy.
Crazy.
But they were like, so John Hamm's obviously in it. He's like the lieutenant colonel, whatever guy, right? And they came to him with it after they wanted Josh Brolin.
John Hamm.
Yeah, they came to John Hamm with the role, and John Hamm like didn't.
Also, great replacement.
He was like he didn't even see the script. He just saw it talking. He's like, sign me the fuck up. Sign me the fuck up. Sign me up. I don't need to see anything. Sign me. Like, I feel like there's a couple projects, a couple like actors, whatever, that if they're attached, you immediately you're like Jonah Hill with Wolf of Wall Street with what Martin Scorsese immediately was like, I will literally do this for like $15 and lunch every day. Like, I don't care.
Like, there's just certain directors like a Scorsese, like Spielberg for such a long period of time, like Kubrick, James Cameron, all these guys, like, just based off their name alone, first puts asses in seats. The casual viewer is aware of them and they will go watch that movie. And number two, it's just the star power attraction. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, for example, was in Titanic. I bet he was paid very well for that. But like, even if he got $100K for that movie, he probably would have still done it at the time, just like knowing the circumstance. And this is where I'm interested in. Before James Cameron made Titanic, which at the time was the highest grossing movie until Avatar, which James Cameron made. But
and then Endgame.
Yeah. Now it's changed. I think Force Awakens is actually number one now.
I don't know. Nor do I care, really.
Regardless. But I'm just so fascinated how this dude, James Cameron, rose so quickly. Now, since Titanic came out, Everett, do you know how many movies he's made? Titanic came out in 1997. He's made 2, Avatar 1 and Avatar 2.
He spent a lot of time. Like, he literally spent the 14 years between those movies just trying to develop the technology to make the next movie.
I remember he went on all those deep sea space dives, and we can get into
he also did that for the Titanic.
Ocean dives.
He also did that for the Titanic.
Yeah, he did. I think while he was preparing for the Titanic, that's what inspired him to do Avatar. And it wasn't Avatar, like this recent water Avatar movie, what has been in his mind for the past like 20 years.
It is kind of funny though that the Avatar movies are still kind of following like Avatar: The Last Airbender vibes. Like the next one's supposed to be like a fire tribe of Avatar. You're like,
wait a second. The last one they go to Doom. They go to the Earth planet.
It's like we had flying in the first one. The second one was water. The third one's fire. All right, there's a kind of a trend here. Hold on.
And they messed up the order. It's air, water, earth, fire.
That's how we separate ourselves.
Everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked, something like that. But okay, James Cameron, I'm so fascinated. He did Terminator. I think he did Terminator 1 and 2 with Arnie. And also keep in mind, do you know who turned down the role for Terminator? You know who James Cameron's first choice for the Terminator was, Everett?
Well, I feel like it's still some bodybuilder.
Not bodybuilder, but
was
athlete.
It don't tell me it was like O.J. Simpson.
It was Orenthal James Simpson, the Terminator. Quite ironic, huh?
Yeah, that would have not. It's like Harambe marketing though. That would have like you could have been Harambe marketing there though.
And that was Okay, now that was obviously pre-murders, but could you imagine? OJ just got off the trial and he's James Cameron just like Terminator. You kidding me? That's
What
the
if he
easiest pick
already
ever.
was Terminator and he was like, and he was in trial, he was like, this is
What
all a
if
marketing scheme.
what if
They're still
turning
alive.
down Terminator?
They're still
What if
alive. This is just one large marketing scheme. Like that conspiracy theory would be there. That would
what
be
if
something that
OJ
would
one
exist.
day just woke up and was like, I could have been Terminator. I could have. I'm not saying anything, but I'm
How
saying
would the
something.
line? I feel like there would have been a new line though, instead of if it doesn't fit, you must have quit. There would have to be a new line just for the Terminator.
Something with well. Now, do you think OJ would still say "get to the chopper" if he was the Terminator, or do you think they would have? No, I know.
Can you imagine OJ Simpson's
he
like
just has a German accent.
He's trying to do an Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonation.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, but you know what? We can get off the movie topic for now. Move our way on to some other stuff. But before we quite dive into aliens to close out the last hour of the show, we're planning on going.
We still have an hour,
folks.
Wow.
Planning on going 2 hours. So no, I'm kidding. We'll see how long this goes. But I got
the problem with you and me though is we could just sit here and talk about this for like literally 2 more hours.
And it's like I've honestly kind of preconditioned my brain to be like, when you say and now let's get to the NFL, it like I'm like,
you're like, oh, we're
kind of all right, wind it down.
We're kind of winding down. Yeah, we don't have that.
You don't say that today, I'm not sure if I will wind down. So you know what? We'll see. But okay. I saw this earlier today from the legendary Tommy Smokes. But Everett, if you could go back in time and be the richest man in the world at that point versus your life right now, and you just just live your life right now, what it is, at what year is the cutoff where you would just stick with your current life? So for example, if you could go back in time to 2016 as the richest man in the world, you would do that, no brainer. It's modern enough, it's recent, you know what you want to use your money or spend it on, yada yada. Obviously, if you were in like the 80s, 70s, that era, like knowing like Apple and Google investing, like yes, you could become even more than the richest man in the world. But let's say 500 BC, what would being the richest man in the world exactly get? Now you could have a crazy
is that like Pharaoh to like King Tut like era? Like what? I don't know what's going on in that era.
As a guy who got a 3 on the AP World Test, not the guy you should ask. I got no idea.
I'm in the same boat as you. I couldn't tell you. I will
say though,
I don't think I've taken a history class in 4 years.
Yeah, I have not taken a history class in junior year of high school. But it's been 5 years, Everett. But like one recent thing I've seen that boggles my mind is ancient Egypt is so old that the Egyptians during Cleopatra's reign, they had professions of ancient Egypt historians. That was a profession.
No, I know. The pyramids were already there, I'm pretty sure.
Cleopatra is closer to us on a timeline than when the pyramids were created.
Oh God, Grant, screw the question. Now we're just on Egypt now. This is
we opened up the wormhole. So okay, Egypt. Actually, all right.
Fuck.
Now this is something that's really interested me, and I'm just been fascinated by. But you know how, we of course you think pyramids, you think ancient Egyptian pyramids, of course.
Yeah, obviously.
Now, I forget which tribe. Aztec, Mayans, I forget.
Well, they all have pyramids, so.
Well, okay, even better. They all have pyramids. And I was reading into some stuff how all of these pyramids, I don't think like stone by stone, literal like metrics, they're not all the same, but they're all lined up on a specific longitude, latitude.
Yes, that is true.
Or something.
And also the 3 pyramids in Egypt line up with
it's just
the star. They like line up with like astrological bodies.
I think that's what it is. Maybe.
I mean, if we really want to start talking about something, we should be talking about the Naztec lines. Like that's where things really get interesting.
I don't think I'm familiar.
It's in Peru.
Educate me on
Look
this.
it up on the Naztec
Wait, here.
lines.
Naz.
I
How do
think
you
it's
spell that?
Naztec lines. I'm not entirely sure. Hold on.
Nastechh.
Yeah, Naste, or sorry, Nazca.
Nastec.
Nazca, Nazca lines. They're just these massive
Peru.
in Peru. Massive hieroglyphs, like just in the ground. Like from
Oh yeah. This is
that's
like the
crazy.
fucking Signs movie. Yeah,
That's crazy. That's the craziest. Like that's one of the crazier things. Like on the like you obviously we have Easter Island or Easter Island. We have the
well, that's also sus. Those big head statues.
yeah.
How'd those get there?
Like there are so many things like on the planet that are just unknown and just interesting. But the Nazca lines to me are like that is one of the weirder things because they're so big. There's so many of them, and we still have zero idea really why they're there.
Yeah, no, like what the hell? Like the fact that they are still there. I'm reading that they were created between 500 BC and 500 AD.
Yeah.
And they're still there. Like, it's ridiculous. Now, just objectively speaking, if it's true, 500 BC to 500 AD took 1,000 years to make, it's like, okay, now.
But we don't know. We also that's not saying
we don't know.
That's not saying that it took 1,000 years. That's just saying okay, we think that they were probably made around that range. That doesn't mean it took that long.
It could have 500 AD.
It could have been 1 year in that range, and they were just like it just has to be this old in that range. We just
that's terrifying to think about. Terrifying, horrifying, honestly, to think about. If it took a year to make that, but I mean, where I'm more so getting at with the pyramids all being perfectly aligned despite being across globe, where I would have been extremely difficult for an ancient Egyptian with knowledge of the pyramids, because I did fact check this. Those South American pyramids were created much later than the Egyptian ones. So yes, an ancient Egyptian or someone who studied ancient Egypt and the formation of the pyramids, yes, they could have been in South America at the time and passed down the knowledge. Yes, of course.
Well, also,
I just find that
you want to talk about something crazy. You know how much knowledge was probably lost in the burning of the Great Library of Alexandria? Well, that's crazy.
Isn't there like a rumor that we still have?
Well, there's like a rumor that like the
that's like the Vatican.
The Vatican. There's the rumor like the Vatican has stuff, which is a whole different conversation to have. But the how much stuff and just knowledge of the world that was probably lost in that quote unquote burning is crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying to find exactly. Okay, so they estimate that somewhere between 40K to 400,000 scrolls were in that library. And I feel like one scroll could be 500 words, or it could be 500,000.
It could literally hold secrets untold to the rest of the world.
Humanity. But yeah, I'm kind of more so getting at aliens. You can already tell with what's going with the pyramids and stuff. What do you think are the chances that aliens have visited us in the past and contacted the ancient Egyptians,
I don't know about all the way back then, but like right now, yeah, like yes.
Right now they're contacting us?
I mean, I would say probability wise, it has to be, hey, logos, Grant. We can't have the logos, man. Can't have the logos out there.
I forgot the duct tape. That's on me.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I feel like probability wise, probably have to have had something by now. I mean, you get into Roswell and all these other things that have already happened. Like, I mean, something has to have. Yeah,
the Roswell is interesting. I will say though,
the one thing that I will say is every single thing that you have really ever heard about it is always within the United States, which is like
yes,
so just like that's just not accurate to the way that things would actually work. If I'm an alien, I'm not gonna be like, that looks like the place I need to contact. I'm just gonna fucking show up somewhere.
Yeah,
like I could end up in like in
realistically, if an alien can travel here, yeah, they can pop active camo and you can't see them. 100%. What are we talking about? What?
But like they could end up in like Sudan. Like I don't know. Like
I mean honestly, we've all seen those pictures of Earth at night where all the lights are on. It looks pretty sick. If you're an alien, would you go to that lit up area, or would you try
Depends
to go
your intentions.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know what they're trying to do. Shit, maybe they're fascinated with the ocean. They're like, fuck, this planet's got a lot of water.
That would be, I low-key feel like that would be terrifying though. If an alien showed up and they're like, you guys have water? Like, I'm gonna study this. They're very attuned on the water. That's spooky. That's scary.
Now, another thing that I've heard. Now, I have just heard so much that we need to find water for a possibility.
There apparently is a planet like a couple hundred light years away that we just found.
Oh, I'm not like I feel like for a long time, I've heard Mars had water before. I've heard there's
Pluto has some frozen water or some shit. Like, yeah.
Like and it's the Jupiter moon. I think it's called Io. It's like a full ice surface, and I think they do know for fact that the underwater ice surface is water.
Props to Miss Frizzle. That's my astrology teacher. All right.
And
if you're listening to this right now,
no, that's the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
If you're listening to this right now,
come on the magic school bus.
If you're listening to this right now and you didn't understand the Miss Frizzle reference, you probably should turn this off. Like, this is not.
Do you think they still show Magic School Bus and Bill Nye to like
Bill? You have to show Bill Nye.
Do you think they? Because if they,
I feel like the bigger question is if they show Mythbusters.
Like, yeah.
That's the bigger question: is if they show Mythbusters.
Elementary.
But you know what? So what? Hold on. What was
without those three?
What was it called? The robot and the
something in Moby.
Dick and Moby. Oh no, it wasn't Dick and Moby.
No way, it was Dick and Moby. You're thinking Moby Dick.
I know. Hold on.
Tim and Moby. I think Tim and Moby.
Hold on.
It's funny that before you even said that cartoon robot, I knew exactly what you were about to say. Because that's the only other thing you think about lower school science. When you moved to Minnesota, they were still showing
it's Tim and Moby. Tim and Moby Brain Pop was what it was called.
Brain Pop.
I know they redid it.
They were still showing you Bill Nye, right?
Yeah, we had some Bill Nye episodes. But I remember you and I, we were in
core curriculum.
We were in I think it was first grade, and we went to science class. We were making paper, I think, back in first grade, and before that,
stencil pencils.
Yeah. Well, no, I wasn't going to get into stencil pencils. I was just saying, I remember us watching Brain Pop in class in our little science lab that we had. Which, by the way, I don't know why that lab was always like so dark. It was so dark.
Yeah, I honestly think it's because it was in a little area on campus underneath that hill. Or right below that.
But like, I also felt like there was I also felt like the lights were also never on in there either. Though it was just dark.
Also, but you know what? I mean, I don't know. Hey, I'm no scientist. Don't quote me. But they were growing like plants in there and stuff.
No, yeah.
Need it to be dark. I don't know.
But also, it was just funny though when like we did that and then we went to go do the stuff with like the robots and whatnot. You had to we couldn't do it in there. You had to like walk all the way down the road to get to that secondary science building. Which, by the way, never saw it used ever outside of that.
Ooh, they updated it after
they did. It's like nice now.
Crap at the end. At the end of it, it was like the hangout spot.
Okay, that's sick. That's sick. Just I remember when I was there, I literally, I just it was just there. Like it was never used for anything else.
Just a random
corner, like building on the side of the mountain.
no class assigned to it. No, it's not like there's presentations in there. Nope, just a random room. Big room too. A lot of real
very
estate.
Big room.
Not used.
Very big room. That was like the gym that was like up on the side of the hill that we did like yoga in, but like it was never used for anything else. Not the actual gym, like the secondary gym.
Yes.
We had like
basketball hoops up, correct?
Yeah, we had our
your day camp.
Our like winter like sing-alongs or whatever in there when we were kids.
Well, Mrs. Yeah.
Well, don't drop. We can't drop the name. Oh, I was gonna say don't drop the names in there.
We're not doxing. I'm just saying I was the lead model in her ABCs of Yoga book, and I absolutely killed it. I slaughtered that downward dog. Oh my god! Probably the greatest downward dog you ever seen. I hit that tree pose like an animal. I was like a lemur climbing up a tree in that yoga book. All right. You have no idea the amount of work I put in for that one. The photo shoot, probably the most efficient photo shoot in the history of anyone under the age of 8 ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, except you're
I
probably
would
gonna
say,
you probably have you
I
probably
would
got
say,
those couple kids out there that are like just so photogenic though, and just like one pose, another pose, another pose.
well,
It's
if
just like done.
anything, that photogenic kid's gonna be annoying because he'd be like, "Ooh, do
Oh no,
another.
they
Ooh, I don't like
definitely
that.
they
Do
are
another."
definitely very annoying. Definitely
Didn't
very
hear that
annoying.
out of me. You know, I'm trying to get through this as fast as possible. If you need a cute smile, I'll give it to you. If you need 2 thumbs up, I'll give you 3. All right. I'm trying to get out of here and go
I'm
play
now getting
Pokemon
like
Diamond.
Eric Cartman vibes. Like I don't know why that was like the first thing my by the way, complete side note, I miss the
Nothing's a
days.
side note in this episode.
I miss the days though where like you actually had to line up at like we lined up at GameStop when Pokemon came out to get the game the day of. Like you had to pre-order it ahead of time so then you could show up
Okay,
on that
now
day to pick it up.
this might be a me thing, but you know, we're now in the age where you're saying we don't go out get discs. Everything's digital, and I'm even talking movies and stuff too. It's all digital, it's all online. No more hard copies. Shit, if you want to read a book, probably pirate it online for free rather than buying it. So, you know, once again, it's all online, nothing handheld. For the new college football game, I think I'm gonna buy the hand. I just want to hold
The
that.
physical, but does your PlayStation
I
have a
have
disc
I have
reader?
yeah.
So I
So
don't
I can
have
do
a
it.
disc
Yeah,
reader.
yeah.
I
I
don't.
know not
Which
everyone,
by the way, the
but
other thing
I
is
want to hold that.
the when you buy things digitally, regardless of what the platform is, like you're not actually buying the physical rights to the game. You're
Yeah,
buying like the distribution rights or
permission.
whatever, permission to play it. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can
I thought it
take
was
it away from you. Like you could just like you don't physically like whenever you download an app or something to your phone, like
better
let's talk about
read those
Flappy Bird.
service terms and agreements,
When you like
boys. Better
download
read them.
Flappy Bird or something, like they couldn't delete it off your phone if it was already there. But the
Yes.
difference is like on like the PlayStation or something, like I have Madden right now, right? Like they could just delete Madden from the store and I can't play it anymore. But if you have a disc,
Yeah.
you can still play it.
Well, actually, now that I think, if let's say Madden, I don't know, 19, a really old one, and you have a
Calling Madden
disc,
19 an old one is
I actually think EA, like I'm pretty sure, let's say you have a disc and they delete that software off of the service completely, I don't think you can play it anymore on the
no,
new
no,
gen.
yeah, but if they don't like they could take something off the store, but if like the serve like you could still play, especially if like it's a single player game or something, like you can still
Like
obviously still play
Xbox
that.
360, PS3 days, as long as you had that game copy, it's like that will run. Like
No, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think they had the technology at the time
That's
to like
why like
remove a
still like
game from the
NCAA
software.
14 like probably or like 13 12 whatever. If you own the
If I
disc for
didn't
that,
get
you probably
if I
you
didn't
have
get
your
Red
Xbox
Ring of Death,
360.
I would be playing that right now.
No, like
I have the copy
I
still.
have my Xbox 360. Like I still it still works and everything, but obviously they shut down Xbox Live for it and they shut down the
Yeah.
game store for the Xbox 360. So the only way to play those games is if you physically own it because you can't play it if you just
Oh
bought
yeah.
the online version of it. It's the same
But
thing
yeah,
with
like
like Pokemon and stuff that we grew up playing. Like I have all those physical games still. Please don't rob me. I know that they're worth a lot of money now, but like I still have all those physical
I would
games, and I
never
wouldn't.
rob you of Pokemon.
I'm
I would
talking about
only
the other
ask to
people.
rent your Pokemon Soul Silver for like 4 months. That's
I
the only
think
thing
I
I'd ask.
actually I have a Soul Silver. I think I have both Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
That's the
I
only thing
did.
I'd
I
ask.
just I found. I don't know if I still have it, but I found the other. I think like last year I found like those walking like the Tochi whatever they're called. Like you know you put your
Oh yes,
the Zach and
yes.
Cody commercial where they were walking with like the holster, like leveling up
Ooh.
their Pokemon or their eggs. Like that was the other thing is like you could get eggs in the game, and instead of walking around in the game,
I
you could
never
just
played
walk
that shit,
around with it
but
like on you physically, which was kind of cool.
yeah, I never exactly got into it, but yeah, no,
I
I
mean,
know what
I
you mean.
didn't, I never used it. I don't think, but
All right, you know what? While we're on the topic of Pokemon, let's just quick get this out of the way. Best starter Pokemon. Five,
of any
4, 3, 2 of any, 1. Hit.
Mudkip,
Oh, what? Wow. I was expecting Infernape out of you. For me, easy. zero hesitation, no brainer. Empoleon, Piplup, Prinplup.
Well, no, you were a Piplup
Oh.
truther. When I first started, the first game I ever played, I had Turtwig. Me and the unnamed intern both had Turtwig.
The unnamed intern.
Lego was a monstrosity, Grant. That was not good.
The unnamed intern, let's just say this. The unnamed intern found out what an action replay was before everyone else did. And I'll never forget one of our other boys, we'll call him T. Call him T for now. One day T and I realized
I'm gonna have to go back and get us through there.
We've been very good about never saying it. I actually just slipped. We go, Mr. Unnamed Intern, how do you have 898 rare candies? How
are all your Pokemon level 100
and he
and you're on the 4th
immediately
gym?
Slams the DS shut, sprints out of the room, and hides.
Was this at his old house or was that
old house? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my god. One of the greatest memories ever. But yeah.
And then after that moment, once we all collectively found out about it, then it wasn't a ostracizing.
We all became infected.
It wasn't like
I immediately went to eBay immediately, and every single weekend it would be like clockwork.
See, I found out about it.
T every Friday, the second school ended, he'd be like, can I get a quick little rare candy refill? Thanks.
I found out about the actual.
That was his drug dealer. That's how crazy we were.
I found out about it through my cousin because he originally used it for I think the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles DS game, when that movie came out. I was like, oh, all right, let me see, he was showing me all this stuff because obviously I played Pokemon. He didn't play it, but he
knew of it,
had played it, not personally, but he had played it.
I feel like our age range, 2 to 3, 4 years above, there's at least a 30% chance you played.
For one of my birthdays, he gave me a whole list of cheat codes for Paper Mario on the Wii. That was my present from him. He just went online, printed it out, and gave it to me.
I don't know why. I have a vivid memory of me and you at a Scholastic book fair. The only book that interested us was video game cheat codes, and we just sat there and
I remember we bought
sat
that
there,
book.
Went through it, either bought it. Maybe this was an earlier time, but we just sat there and just started copying the codes down in the book because that was totally clean, I guess. So
it was okay for us to do that.
Skip to the Pokemon section, open it up, and just wrote them all down.
Well, I remember I had a walkthrough guide from one of those games in my room, and we also had that. We were sitting there, both books open, flipping the pages in my room, just going through it.
Yeah, I mean, those are great times. You also did have a send-off Pokemon birthday party.
I did. Grade. That was,
and I let's just say unnamed intern ran that shit. He ran that tournament. My God.
Well, no, you remember we started up I think it was 2nd grade before I left. We started playing Yu-Gi-Oh in recess in a little alley corner.
We did.
Hey, there were some other guys. There were some other guys there too. It was there was a solid 7 or 8 of us playing it. By that.
There was actually a good 1 month stretch, my first semester at USC, where my roommate, now he was Vietnamese, so I'll be honest, he did have a background when it came to Yu-Gi-Oh, but he got me a little bit into it for about a month, and then he tried to get to these fusion cards, and then I was done.
Yeah, no, I don't understand that. I don't know how that works.
Too much.
Yeah, no, that's too much. But
I would say though.
That Pokemon party, though, that was something else. Else.
I have an older cousin, my oldest cousin. When I was growing up, he was probably a decade older than me, around that time, and he would just routinely humble me in Pokemon. And that would
be the unnamed intern for me.
Yeah, I just remember the only time I ever beat him in Pokemon, he let me win, was when I finally stopped just only using attack moves. He would try to essentially teach me for 7 years, double team is OP. Don't just spam the
see, that's the problem is all of us outside. outside of the unnamed intern just spammed attack moves. The unnamed intern wouldn't
unnamed
do
intern
that.
over there was using like trick room.
He would do trick moves. He'd use protect on stuff. I'm like, dude, stop.
Like he'd hit the cheese where like you'd have it'd be like doubles.
What's the I don't know,
detect on the other.
Yeah, I don't know what the thing's name is, but he had that like lava slug Pokemon.
Cargo.
That thing was That thing was my hell. That was my hell.
And Jolteon.
That was,
oh my god.
This might have to get cut, but that was my 13th reason, Grant. That was.
Oh my god. An intern had a timid Jolteon with the plus speed, literally outspeeded everything, and he would just one-shot stab Thunderbolt everything.
I have to personally ask him what his lineup was, because I know Lego is in there. I know that
the
Magcar, whatever. I think he had a Gyarados in there somewhere.
I'm not even sure if he even got to Gyarados. It was just
he had a Gengar though. He did have a Gengar, I think.
Makes me want to vomit that Pokemon. Ugh, yuck.
Yeah. You know what? He had what's the Eevee evolution? That was he had one of those things.
Jolteon. That was what wrecked me. It was either that or Umbreon.
That's definitely what it was.
Umbreon. That's some awful stuff. But okay, enough of the Pokemon talk. Everett.
Yeah, no, we're a little bit of a nerd moment there.
Everett, I recently saw a picture of a couple getting married, and their pet llama was one of their.
I did see that picture. Picture.
Two-part question. First, what would be the best animal to appear in a wedding? I think I have an answer for that one. And then second part, what random we can just do the second question. What random animal would you have as a pet if you can guarantee it will not harm you?
Guarantee it doesn't harm me.
Guarantee it will not harm you or anyone around you. It will not cause any harm. Just like the emotional support alligator that one Philly fan tries to bring into the games. Okay, just like the emotional support alligator. What animal? Guaranteed to not hurt you or anyone around you. So you don't need to fear having guests over. They will not harm anyone. You're taking it out on a walk, will not harm anyone. What animal?
I mean, I feel like it either has to be a lion or like that, but that's a pretty basic answer, is a lion. Like I would do a panda would be pretty lit, or like a panther would be pretty lit.
I'll be honest, my 1-1, no question,
panda.
It's a panda.
Yeah, no, a panda would be sick.
Just that big man.
Panda would be
you
sick.
Come back home from work, he just posts up on the couch with like 2 beers open, just grubbing a bamboo stick. It's like, yeah, the game's on in 20.
I would also do like a silverback gorilla. Like that'd be kind of sick.
I was saying like monkey, chimpanzee, gorilla. Very sick.
That'd be pretty sick, because like you actually kind of understand you and can kind of pool. Like, give me Harambe. Like, I want Harambe.
No, but also just imagine pulling up to the club just with
you and your fucking gorilla.
No one's messing. No one. And hey, we know it won't harm. It won't harm anyone on its own. You can command that shit to do something. All right, then it'll listen. But like, I think so. Yeah, no, silverback definitely up there. I'm thinking, lion, tiger, cheetah would be sick. Cheetah would be sick, just to be like.
Would be pretty solid. A hippo.
You just take a tennis ball, throw it as far as you can, just fetches that shit back so fast.
Instantaneously. I'm trying to think. Would there be like any bird? I was
thinking like a kangaroo or something.
Yeah, no,
I was thinking bird.
But I'm like, is there anything that would be like cool to have that's not like, like when you're thinking of like an animal that's like not gonna hurt people, you're thinking of like a huge animal. Like I'm thinking of a big animal, like not like a little like I'm gonna get an armadillo. Like
yeah, and it's not like I don't want like an eagle or a falcon. It's like.
But those also are animals that you can just have. Like that's not like a. Well, I don't think you can't have an eagle, but that might be that might be a problem in the U.S. But
yeah, but like I think panda for me is definitely my 1-1. I think like
if I could just have any animal, like
just have just like a black bear.
It'd also just be kind of lit to like have a dolphin, like or like an orca whale, like Shamu. Give me Shamu.
I was trying to go aquatic, but I was like, I don't know. Right?
No, you know what? It'd probably be like a sea lion. Like a sea lion would probably be like pretty chill to like. Those things are like kind of cool though. They're like some of them are kind of chill.
I feel like we're now that may just be nuisance. Those things are massive, and it's just
I'm not talking like a walrus. I'm not talking like a walrus.
Okay. I'm
talking about like a
walrus.
normal like whisk like sea lion. No, I'm not talking about Mr. Tusk. I'm talking about like when you think of a sea lion, like you're thinking of like the sleek skin, you know.
Okay. Where like a
I do Crush from Finding Nemo. Just give me a sea turtle. Like those things are sick.
Yeah, maybe Brian from Family Guy, even though he's a dog.
And also Scooby-Doo. Who wins in a fight, Brian or Scooby-Doo, though?
Fight, Brian. Investigation, Scooby figures it out first.
Scooby's figuring some shit out about Brian, though, before Brian beats the shit out.
Who knows? Maybe if Scooby-Doo could talk, all those mysteries would have been solved much.
Scooby-Doo can talk.
But, he
speaks English, Grant.
He's not.
He's still a dog. He doesn't have the brain he doesn't have a brain of a human being. Like, it's still a dog. He just speaks.
Let's have fun. Let's say he could.
Out of that whole group, besides Velma, which ones of them are you think is smart enough to figure that shit out like this? Like, Velma's the only one with like actual like great intellect in there.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
She's the Michael Jordan of the group.
Well, Michael Jordan implies recognition. I would say she is more like,
if they're the Chicago Bulls, she's the Michael Jordan.
I think I disagree. I think she's the Rodman. I think she's the glue.
And who's the Jordan? Are you saying Scooby-Doo is the Jordan?
I think
Scooby-Doo. It is.
I mean, the show's named after him.
But
we're gonna have to go with Scoob.
But
Scooby snacks.
They are mystery incorporated. Like in the actual world itself, they are mystery incorporated.
And that is Jerry Krause, Mystery Machine Incorporated. Freddy's pissed about his Scottie Pippen contract, and I understand. I totally get it. I would be too, brother.
One of my favorite things I saw earlier today.
17 million over 7 years.
One of my favorite things I saw earlier today was like the interviews from like the live action Scooby-Doo movie a while ago. And it was like the person who plays Daphne was just talking about like, yeah, like I'm so passionate about this because like it's not a boys cartoon, it's not a girls cartoon, like it's an everybody cartoon. And like this is like making, and then it like cuts out, it goes to the guy who plays Freddy. He's like, it's a talking dog. I mean, like, come on. It's like, what the fuck? It was like one of the funniest like cuts, and one who's like, it's a talking dog, you know what I mean? Like one of the funniest sets of interviews like I have ever seen.
Yeah, I'm now trying to think of what would be another type of animal show. I'm trying to think. Scooby-Doo.
Zaboomafoo?
I would say Scooby-Doo is probably the most successful franchise after Dog ever. But if we're just going off of any animal, I think Scooby-Doo.
Blue's Clues?
Scooby-Doo, definitely.
I don't know, Blue's Clues. Do you count Barney? Barney's a dinosaur? That's a different world.
I was just gonna say, if we're just talking all animals, I think it's without question, although it technically doesn't count, Mickey Mouse, the mouse. I think
that would be the most successful animal.
Without question.
Tom and Jerry would probably be up there. So is the Pink Panther.
Those are good ones. Damn.
I know. Right.
Wow Wow Wubsy. Is he up there?
No.
That one's on me. All right. Okay. More alien talk. This one. Everett, first, you kind of answered before. Quick yes or no. Do you believe that aliens exist?
Yes.
Slight follow-up. Do you believe that aliens exist now or at any time ever? Okay, so now.
Both,
and then
but yes.
Okay. And then last, do you believe that aliens exist in the sense of intelligent beings that can travel to us, or are we talking a fucking tree?
Well, if I think of aliens, I'm thinking of anything in the range of our evolutionary process. Like I'm not thinking about a plant. Like I would be thinking that of an alien plant. Like it could be it could be a protozoa, but like that's still something. Like that's Like,
Yeah.
so I'm
So
not saying it's a physical person or whatever, like fucking
yeah,
Dr. Zoidberg from Futurama, but I'm talking like it could be a piece of bacteria, and that still counts because that's a living thing.
perfect. Okay, so as of right now, the year 2024, we have no evidence in our observable universe. I think that's the term. We have no evidence of any alien life, and that goes down to plants. Okay, so in our observable universe, no evidence of even a plant.
Currently living with
Currently,
us. To be, it
in
could be
the
something in the
observable
past. Could be
universe,
something. There could
in
have been something in the past. Could have been something in
and
the
once
past.
again, in the observable universe, which is I don't know, 0.000000000000001% of space. I don't know, very
Probably
small
repeating,
portion.
repeating 01.
Yeah, but when people right now say, "Well, I don't believe in aliens," where's the proof, evidence of it? How can you say aliens exist? I
Proof is
think that's a
probability.
yeah, no, I think that's a very arrogant response to say, "Well, I haven't seen
If you
it,"
have
so yeah,
basically infinite possibilities, and somewhere out there, if we exist and we're one, like you cannot be one of infinite possibilities. Like it's
yeah.
statistically
Hey,
impossible.
there
It's
is
a
a
statistical
yeah,
improbability.
there's a non-zero chance that
I'm
Star
using my
Wars
college
literally
my
exists
I'm using
right
my
now.
college degree right now to prove to you that it's a statistical
But
improbability
there,
that we
like there is a non-zero chance that Luke Skywalker is preparing to take down the Death Star right now.
yeah.
Across there's a
It's
non-zero
also,
chance.
when you say a galaxy far, far away and like long ago and a galaxy far, far away, right? Like the
That
way
alone,
light with the way light travels, that could be happening right now. And by the time we learn about it in actual
yeah,
time, that would have been millions
so many
upon
years ago.
billions of years ago.
Exactly,
Like
that's what I
Dune could
think.
be happening somewhere right now. Like,
Yeah, and I feel like it's probably arguably more likely that a Dune is happening right now than Star Wars. But
or a
I don't really
Planet
know.
of the Apes is happening somewhere. Like that could be probably not apes. They're probably not like humanoid somewhere, but like
Yeah,
that's the
like I
other
would
thing.
say,
That's the
yeah,
other thing is people like
we assume they have legs and arm. We assume they're like 5 feet to 7 feet tall. It's like these are awful assumptions. It's like the most
like
human, self-centered view ever
the
to
most
assume that.
likely thing is an alien is not going to look like anything that we have ever seen, which is difficult to comprehend. Like it's not going to look like
Yeah,
any other
we can't
animal
comprehend
or us or something. Like
if
it's
that
incomprehensible.
if aliens land here tomorrow and a guy walks out of a space station on a giant little runway platform and he has 2 legs, 2 arms, and a head and a torso, not no way, hell no. This is a bit.
No,
That's
like
Joe
yeah.
Biden in a suit. No way, no way. I refuse to believe that. Just like the odds of that, so unbelievably, so unbelievably
Like
low.
it also is like there could be things that we're familiar with that aren't living in that regard that are actually like living in some other aspect.
Yeah,
Like
who
you don't
knows?
know.
Maybe they come in a gas form. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. Who said they have to physically? Who knows? I don't know. Maybe odds are if they really wanted to scout us, I mean, shit, we're doing it right now. We have satellites all over different planets. They would just send a satellite out essentially as like a FaceTime cam. See it.
That's the thing.
Go on with their day.
Here's also like the other crazy thing is like
Like,
we are constantly sending, like we've been receiving a signal from space for like 30 years right now. Like it's a consistent signal that we've been receiving. We can't decipher it, but like there are those things that we've gotten, which is why it's very difficult to be like there is nothing. Like right, and like probability is like all one thing. Like you could be, there couldn't be anything that's remotely, like the argument is if they were as advanced to us or advanced, like we would know about them by now. But that's not how things travel. Like
how?
it's just not how it works. And that's even
Yeah.
like that's my problem with some physicists or like some I don't know what astrologists, like they don't always
Yeah.
think about
Yeah.
that aspect of things. Like so
Like, one thing that I was just interested though bringing up two parts. So first, when I was bringing up the water, I feel like we have an assumption and a belief that for life to exist, water needs to be there. But
for us,
like,
yeah, but not for everybody.
yeah, who's to say that aliens on other planets need water to like I how is that confer like for human species, yes, you need water to survive. Okay. But what is there to say that has to be the case for another planet?
Also,
I could be
yeah.
really stupid right here. It could just be water's the
Like
foundation of life.
well, that's
It could be as
here's the
simple as
thing.
that. It
Our
could be.
understanding is that there are certain necessities for life in general. Like
Yes. Yeah.
carbon is a necessity for life.
Yes.
Like for us, water is a necessity for every living being and thing on this planet, regardless if it's a
Yes.
plant, an animal, like whatever, right? It is needed, right? You need some form of food, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. The point being is it's incomprehensible to us because that's our understanding of the
Yeah.
universe, but you can't
That's how
live
our
in
planet
that.
works.
You
Earth.
can't live in the understanding that every aspect of the universe is required. That, like, yes, carbon makes up, and whatever, from what we know, carbon makes up every other thing, right, that exists. Like
Yeah.
planet, whatever, carbon is there. We always, like, that's how you make a planet, right?
Yeah.
Nitrogen, carbon, like the basic elements. But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that somewhere else in a different universe, there is a whole parallel, separate version of those elements that do maybe similar functions, but don't work the same way as ours. Like, you're, because there's so many probabilities and in consequential, like, statistical anomalies that can just happen because you have infinite situations. You can't act as if it's not possible because of XYZ with, like, the way
Yeah.
that
It's
we
like
know the
even
world.
with living things on our own planet, shit. Majority of animals take in oxygen, and like every plant takes in CO2. So not even for all of our living species a universal rule. Like we literally our own planet over shit. I don't know. I know maybe if you count insects, it could be a little bit closer. But there are definitely way more trees and plants than human beings. And it's just like just off of that comparison alone,
I
it's
would
like
hope that that's the case. I would
now I'll
hope.
be honest, I have recently heard like if you're going off of living creatures, just the amount of insects there there may just be more insects alone than
Well,
plants. I don't know.
you have, like,
It's off.
if you want to talk about just living creatures, like, the most things that there are in the world is bacteria. Like, that's the
Yeah,
biggest.
yeah, yeah. But
Like,
I'm
you got shit. You have, like, not
oh,
insects,
trust
but you
me,
have
I
shit
know.
crawling all
Yeah.
over you right now. Like, there are little
And if
things
we're
that are
just going
eating
down to the
skin off you and stuff.
cells, and this going back to lower school science, I'll never
The
forget
mitochondria is the powerhouse.
this. Me doing this, I just wiped off like
Yeah,
tens of millions of cells.
you just killed an entire family, a
Yeah,
community over there.
a
Maybe
a nation of
that
cells.
you could have just ended an entire species by doing that.
I did just do that, but it's just knowing that it's kind of crazy. But also, okay, next that other alien thing. First, have you ever seen Arrival?
I have not, but I do know what it is.
Pretty much Arrival. This movie, basically, I'm not going to get into the movie
So, like,
itself, but
Prometheus,
I haven't seen Prometheus. But I'm pretty sure in Prometheus they have a humanoid type alien.
kind of.
But sure. But for Arrival, the two aliens are these
They're like disc
40,
things.
50, 60 foot tall, like octopus type creatures, where it's like their legs are like they're like 8 legs or whatever. They're like 40 feet tall legs. And when you see the aliens on screen, you can't even see their head. You just see their legs extend to the top of the screen. And these aliens, they obviously they don't know English, they don't write in English. Their language is all in circles, and like a circle could mean like hello, my name is Eric, and then a circle with a little squiggly could just mean like danger, the aliens are coming to the planet now. Like
Yeah,
little
yeah.
tiny differences could just mean completely different things. But it's like I'm not necessarily interested in like their communication. It was like to understand their language, you have to like realize that they don't operate in time and space. It's very complex. I'm not trying to get into that, but more so their shape. Just these 50, 60 foot tall octopus alien like creatures. And it's like, it could be that, but also in theory, if we're going to talk about like what could be the most efficient race possible, you would want a species that consumes the least amount of energy possible. Because the more like I feel like smaller aliens, it would be easier to survive and sustain long term, just because you're not like the odds of those 60-foot octopus aliens, like it probably takes a lot of food to feed one of those things. So to have a whole community to be able to cross planet travel, it's probably not the cheapest thing to do resource wise. But I'm just now that I'm thinking from that angle, I feel like the odds of aliens contacting us, the chance of them being like 4 feet tall is pretty high, because I feel like that'd be the most efficient.
It could be any level though. Like it also depends on the planet they come from. Like the planet could be absolutely fucking massive, so they could be.
Yeah, when I realized I think can fit like 5 or 6 or 7 Earths in Jupiter.
Like there could be a planet, probably not like in our universe, but there could be a planet the size of the sun somewhere else, and their sun is like that scaled up to be this like with our sun. So like if the planet's the size of their sun, then imagine the ratio of that to be like with their sun, right? And like that could be in another galaxy somewhere else, far, far away, whatever. And that could be they could have people that are the size of the skyscrapers here, like the Burj Khalifa here,
Also,
like that.
it's like there's many galaxies out there or solar systems that will have two suns at the center, like Tatooine. And it's like I feel like just by nature those planets would naturally be larger because there's such a larger gravitational pull on them to their sun.
Now we're getting into the physics of things.
I've got no idea. I'm just spitballing shit right here. I'm just thinking out loud. But like, I don't know. I feel like that would make sense. I don't know.
Maybe it's I don't know.
I am fascinated by the fact that Jupiter has like 100 moons. For a moon to be created, like an asteroid has to hit the original planet, like there has to be like debris. They have to. Like,
well, it's also Jupiter's all 100. Gas, isn't it? Then then you get the storm that's on Jupiter. I gotta know what's going on in there. Like
okay.
What is going on in the Jupiter storm?
That's what I need to know. I heard that storm apparently it's only existed for like 200 to 300 years. And it's
so what is
supposed to it's supposed to only last for like another 4, 5, 6.
That shit
years.
Must be the craziest storm of all time.
But I remember I was hearing though that Jupiter as a planet, because first it's so large as a planet itself, and it has 10 moons with gravitational pulls on it, that I don't know, like a gust of wind on Jupiter. I don't know what would be an average notable gust of wind like in LA. I don't know.
15 miles per hour.
15 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour. Like on there, a gust of wind is like 800 miles an hour.
No, yeah. Your body is being ripped off of.
Gravitational pull, everything. Like I saw some like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
See, now here's the problem. I'm starting
these winds are converging on this eye.
I'm starting to think in terms of Interstellar right now, and then we're about to get into a whole nother conversation about things.
I think that's how we can this at the end with some Interstellar talk with you.
I'd say we got to start that now.
Start now. Yeah, let's go on.
I mean, the bigger question is like that's one of those examples where like that's probably one of the better versions, a better way of like trying to picture the way things could
how like space-time relationship. Like could honestly the space-time relationship is fascinating to like think about.
It's also like, the ghost of your future past, whatever like the end of the movie was, where it's like he became his own ghost, like traveling through time. And then like that is that like that's like I feel like that's probably very, very improbable, but we also have never been in a black hole, like we don't know. But also like that's just an interesting like thought process in general. It's also something that only Christopher Nolan could come. I kind of like how we've tied everything together now for the whole episode.
Yeah, we've back to the movie.
But it's also aliens and space.
Yeah.
Kind of works.
I do think though, just that Interstellar, like we'll just talk the main planet. ticking scene. Like
You know, every second that tick was supposed to be a year.
Yes. I know.
Okay,
But
just
like
had to make sure.
for in that whole scene, like just thinking about that and knowing that in theory that could exist, like where on a certain planet time it does move differently, age slower on that planet than other places, where it's like that's the only way I can think of a way to time travel right now. Like if there was any way to do it, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Once again, I don't know how you do it.
It's just also weird to think about. Like, so you know, like when you're asleep,
I feel like it's nearly impossible to go back in time.
We don't know. We don't know. Don't know. That's a whole nother that would have to be another rando-sode when we go through all the times that like there's been time travel captured. Like there is the Muhammad Ali fight, I'm pretty sure, where there's a phone in like the background of that. Like there's some weird stuff.
I'll be the weirdest ones to me are the major historical events. And for me, that would make the most sense if I had access to time traveling. I really wanted to go see something. I would go to these crazy events. Like I would go see a Muhammad Ali.
But there's like a lot of
watch Babe Ruth calling his final shot. Like I would pick these.
No, but there's a lot of like captured like weird stuff going on those things.
Oh yeah.
But it's just interesting to me, like when you like sleep, right, and like you're asleep in time. Obviously, time passes so much differently for you in your sleep. But to think about it, like, hey, well, I was asleep, that felt like this, but somebody could have just had to spend 5 hours doing like being bored. Like there was people who were just up doing stuff for the last 4 hours, and time passed for them so much slower. Like that already is an existent thing. So to think about it in the other terms of being like they had a guy up in the spaceship in the movie, right, and like he lived through 12 whatever, however many years, right, while that was going on. So to think about it, like 30 seconds for you and having the ratio be somebody is experiencing something so much longer while you're experiencing so much shorter, also is just such a weird thing to think about.
Yeah, like just thinking of like, now help me out here. I don't exactly remember. Like on that planet, it moved slower. Was it because they were orbiting the black hole or something?
I think so. It was something like that. Like they were by the black hole. It's like time passed slower.
Okay, it was something like that. But like that's just one thing I think to understand time traveling. You got to understand how black holes operate, how they are like independent of time and space. No, yeah, we don't know shit. But like if we're ever gonna get to that stage, you're gonna have to understand how black holes work because they work time and space, and you're gonna have to figure out how to.
But that could be the key to everything that we've talked about and understanding everything.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
with
honestly,
that,
hey, just real quick, why have we sent a satellite just into a black hole yet? We had to, right?
I think we're trying to, but also like it's so hard. Like you're gonna lose signal, and they're so far away. Like you're gonna lose signal before we do that.
I don't know how else you would investigate.
You have to make better technology to be able to send it further. Make stronger signals.
Right. As of today, we just can't even reach a black hole.
I just don't think we can even reach one because we lose signal once we pass like a little bit further than Pluto. But with that, thank you guys so much for watching, listening. Rate us 5 stars. You can find us on Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and on Instagram at WaterboyPod. You can follow me and Grant on Twitter at Everett and at Waterboy Grant. We post new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday on YouTube and all podcast platforms. So make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss a single episode. We post on TikTok and Instagram every week, so make sure to follow us there for exclusive content, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Waterboys out.